What it is, ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy Jay Spence, and this is the Chop Up. And I got two special guests with me, and I got my man Mookie joining me soon. First of all, I know y'all know the Buff Hub. We're not even gonna get into this. I know y'all know about the dopest. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a chance before I don't want to do the same thing I did for Brother Bill. I had a intro that kind of went too wild, man. I was drinking too much. It was bad. It was real bad.
You caught me at a good time.
Oh man, it was one of those games, man. It was one of those games where I'm like, yo, I'm ready for this. I think we were playing the Steelers that night, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow,
yeah. So, but why don't you real quick introduce yourself, let everybody know what you got going on, where they can find you, and then we're gonna get in my man Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Steve Vega. I am the host on Buff Hub on Buffalo Rumblings, and I am always stoked to talk about the Bills and just to have a platform to be able to connect with all of just Bills Mafia from all kinds of avenues has been absolutely amazing. I've been running into a bunch of Bills fans out here in Vegas, and out here in the desert where there's no snow, there's nothing, there's not even a drop of rain sometimes. It's awesome, really awesome to meet a bunch of snowbirds and everyone who's just rocking Bills gear. It's pretty wild. It feels like a big Bills community out here. So pretty cool. So that's what I do. I'm a veteran out here, but I love talking about the Bills and I love representing them out here.
Well, hey, thank you for your service. I appreciate you, man. And just so everybody knows, he's part of the Buffalo Rumblings family. So yes. This is my brother. This is my first time having him on the show, but this is my brother. And then also the special guest that's been a special guest. He's probably no longer a special guest.
Not special.
He's
special or a guest.
I was gonna say you're not even a guest. Like you're a resident here. I got my man, my bestie, my homie. The buttery voice, Joe Miller. What's up, big dog, man? How you feeling today, man?
Good, just recovering. The voice is still a little bit worse for the wear from yesterday. So, in case anybody ever wonders, can your voice be deeper? Yes, it can. It can be deeper. Like, yes, I've got permanent morning voice until probably about Wednesday, and then it'll start to heal, which is good. So, yeah.
Hey, man, I texted Joe earlier, and I was like, hey, I'm tired, man. I don't know how I'm gonna do this flight back to Phoenix tomorrow and record my pod and edit it and get it loaded up before midnight. I have no clue. I land in Phoenix 6 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. So then my drive back to my apartment is I'm about an hour from the airport. So I get home at 7, unpack, shower, whatever. Then to record, edit, and get it up. I'm gonna do it. I love you, Bills Mafia. I'm gonna do it. But man, it's gonna be rough tomorrow. My man Bruce Nolan's like his invite must have got lost in the mail. Hey Joe, I'm gonna need you to DM him that. Can you forward that for me? Because I'm on my phone.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, because I need Bruce in here if he want to be in here. He the man.
Bruce.
Hey, so first, Steve, let's get started, man.
Bruce, hang on. Bruce, do you want it in text on your phone? Do you want me to text it to you, or do you want it? I don't know if you got a Mac, or do you want it in your DMs? So just respond. I'll send it to both. Go ahead.
Okay. So yesterday, the game, man, it was one of those games where Joe and I went into the game obviously excited. We were amped. We were ready for everything that was coming, but it didn't quite turn out. It turned out the way we wanted with the W. We won. So now we have another week coming up. We got the, we got the wild card out the way. Now it's the divisional weekend. What do you feel as far as, what are things that we need to worry about? What are things we need to improve on? Or, just in general, how do you feel about the game?
Well, first off, hello, legendary Mookie Hawkins over here. My name's Steve, and it's a pleasure to finally meet you. So, secondly, talking about the game, we have to be careful giving other teams fuel before a playoff game. Even if it was a little video, I get it, but they took it to heart. They wanted to come in there and give us every ounce of what they had. And let me tell you something. It goes to show you that our defense was ready. Our offense took time to get going. They kept trying to pound the rock because this is what I saw. I think Brian Daboll saw one thing. If we could run the ball against them, we could basically shellac them because that's where the apex of their defense is. They stop the run really well. So if you run the ball really well against them, you're throwing play action the whole entire game and you're going to destroy them. So that's just my perception. I understand why some people were kind of frustrated. I think at some point you do expect those pass plays to start coming out. swing in the jet sweep, all that. We saw none of that to Isaiah McKenzie, but it's a testament to their front four is stout. And but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't foresee a defense to play us honestly that strong again. I think the rest of the games in the division are kind of going to be a shootout, if anything. I think that Indianapolis deserves a lot of credit for what their defense can do, and you saw that. Now, as far as the offensive side goes, we knew what we had to do to stop them. We stopped the run. I mean, goodness gracious, we were able to do something. And, they weren't able, except for that one drive, just being able to pierce the field with those zone read runs, being able to really do anything other than that. So a big, just a lot of credit to the Bills defense. Jordan Poyer should be a Pro Bowler, obviously, in that last, punch out. It should have been a fumble, but it is a wild card game. This is what you expect. Now we got time to rest. All the goosebumps, all the goosebumps were there, but all the butterflies are gone. I think going into the next couple of games, it's going to feel like a regular season. I'm excited for it. This is what we've been waiting for.
I have to disagree. So, and the part that I'm going to disagree on is I sent Bruce the wrong link, so I apologize. So Bruce, if you're listening, check again. I sent the wrong link.
He went to the hotline.
No, I sent him. I retweeted this thing and I sent him the address for this versus the address for the Streamline. But if it's there, he's got it now. So the reason that I would disagree is we're not talking about NFL players, professional NFL players going out to your field and dancing on your logo in the middle of a game, before the game, or after the game. That's a little more personal, getting in your coach's face, something like that. These guys were in a closed practice. Every team that's got some mojo and some moxie going and some flow going, dance. Cam was dancing in preseason. I don't think the Bills got mad because Cam was dancing in preseason practice. They were just
to Kurt Franklin. I'm just saying, anybody dancing to Kurt Franklin, I can't be mad at you, man.
They were just
Joe. It could have been any song.
These guys you can't touch this. A song from the 90s when I graduated high school. I'm just not buying it. These guys are paid professionals. If they need, it's basically, and Mookie can talk about it as well. At this point, if you are a paid professional making millions of dollars and you need bulletin board material to get up for a football game, a playoff football game, you're probably in the wrong business. Mookie, you can talk about it.
Well, before Mookie jumps in, the thing that can you hear us, Mookie?
Yeah. Okay.
So before Mookie jumps in, though, like to Joe's point, if people in practice are enjoying themselves in practice, I just don't understand how that is bulletin board material now, because it wasn't even saying anything about the Colts. Like they didn't say, "Oh, we're dancing because we're going to beat the Colts." They didn't say we're dancing because the Colts are no competition. It was literally, "Hey, we're having fun in practice because we want to stay loose and we are enjoying this year that we're having and we're enjoying each other." So I don't understand. Like to Joe's point again, when Juju came to Buffalo and then the next week he went to wherever he went and then he went wherever he went, he was dancing on teams' logos and guys were offended. Like, yeah. You can't say in practice guys don't dance, man. Even when we weren't good, you go to St. John's Fishers during training camp, guys are dancing. We had a video 2 years ago when they were doing the line dance. Like what were they doing? I don't even remember, the electric slide.
The electric slide.
So I don't understand how them dancing in practice is an issue in the same way that Juju dancing on logos. What do you think, Mookie?
Yeah, that's totally two different things. Juju was doing some slick shit. Excuse my French. He do his little TikTok.
Do I have a mute or a beep? I gotta get a censor button on here. Let me.
Button. Then he would drag his little feet. He'd drag like he'd dig and drag it across like he trying to get a first down. So he was doing some derogatory, subliminal, no-nos out there. To the opposed to the Bills dancing at practice. The Bills do that every day in practice. Like,
yeah.
All I'm gonna say is it definitely rubbed Darius Leonard the wrong way, and right away you start. That's just what I saw. That's just what I saw.
Said, Steve, they gotta amp themselves up to fight. They gotta find something to that's gonna motivate them to try to figure that the Bills is trying to slight them. And I had to reiterate that point back to Deion Dawkins because guess what? The Bills have been the underdog for 3 years, so they know what Indianapolis coach is feeling. They know what Indianapolis coach is thinking about them. So I don't think the Bills were caught lacking in that regard. It was just that, like you said before, give Indianapolis credit. I knew coming into the game that this is one of the most well-balanced attacks that the Bills have faced, this season. and it proved that when you look at the stats. I mean, shit. Man. When you look at the stats, Coach McDermott is going to be like, "How do we win this football game?" All right. So so I mean, the stats looks completely like the coach dominated the game.
That's exactly.
And speaking of the stats that Mookie's talking about, so last night Mookie and I actually got a chance to chop it up, and he showed me there's a document that the team prints out and gives you, and it's like a play-by-play, and it breaks down every single play of the game through every single quarter. That's what he's holding right there. So he showed me this breakdown, and I'm looking at the plays, and I'm looking at every single thing. And when you look at the statistics, there's no way when you look at that paper, if you take the score off of it, that you think the Buffalo Bills win this game. The Indianapolis Colts played overall a better game than the Buffalo Bills.
Sure they did.
But we found a way to win. So at this point, the next question now, and I'll start with Joe here, and then we can go to Steve, and then around to Mookie. At this point, Joe, how do you feel going into the divisional round now, knowing that, hey, we can win games even when we don't play our best? So when we're not blowing out teams 51-20, we can actually win a game 27-24. How do you feel about them going into next weekend?
No, I'm confident. Regardless, there's a lot of conversation on Twitter right now as far as like, who do we want to play in this? And I put it out there today who we probably should be rooting for. And it wasn't because I'm concerned about who the Bills are going to play in the next round. What I'm concerned about more is who has the best opportunity to beat the Chiefs. I don't think it's the Browns. I think the Ravens have a better chance of beating the Chiefs than the Browns do. The reality is this: that Colts football team was 11-5, and as much as they've got a phenomenal offensive line and all that stuff. The reason Bills Mafia's asses are a little bit chapped right now is because, and mine too, you were with me, you stood next to me, and I was frustrated for most of that game because the Bills weren't waxing them. I thought the Bills should have mopped the floor with them, and they didn't, but they're a good football team. What it shows me is, A, it's hard to win in the playoffs. It's hard to win in football. It's harder to win in the playoffs. Everybody's going to bring their best. Every single team right now, the game's probably over. The Bears weren't exactly getting shellacked by the Saints either. The Washington football team, the Washingtons last night. You and I were talking this morning. If Alex Smith plays that football, I think it was you and I. Alex Smith plays that football game, they might beat Brady and the Bucks. Like everybody's bringing their best. I don't know that they need bull. Yes, I know he retweeted Ian Rappaport's. Bills by a million, which Rappaport misquoted, which that's what he should have done. He should have jumped on that. Been like, well, if you're going to quote this, at least get the quote right. But I feel very confident. For me, we've seen a lot of growth from this football team this year. We've seen a lot of progress from this football team this year. We've seen a lot of maturing from this football team over the last several years. This is just one more feather in the cap, one more opportunity where the Bills showed that, at the going into the fourth quarter or 3 minutes in the fourth quarter, the Bills had a 2-touchdown lead. And the reality is they held on to that lead. Like the Colts brought the best they had in that last quarter, and the Bills were able to keep them at bay. So I'm super confident the Bills can match up with anybody. And let's keep in mind as well, the Colts beat the Green Bay Packers. So
they did, but Joe, no slouch. Well, so one of the things that you just talked about that kind of had me like, yeah, you're right. So you were talking about Darius Leonard. Now, everybody knows because I talk about it all the time. I lived in Indiana for about 5.5, 6 years. So it was a little under 6 years. So, but the thing is, I consider myself to be a Colts fan. I'm not part of I don't even know what their Colts Nation or whatever it's called. I'm not part of the crew, I'm part of Bills Mafia. But I lived there and I was able to be around the city. So I learned why or how they feel about the team. The thing that I'm actually happy for on both parts of it. I had my uncle on the Code of Conduct last week, and he made mention hey, I'm from Buffalo, but I live in Indianapolis. So whoever wins this game, I'm happy. For me, looking at it from the perspective of a Colts fan, I know Phillip Rivers is probably done. If he's not done, he got one more year or whatever he's going to try. But you have a roster and you have a young stud on your defensive team that really is able to dominate on the defensive side of the ball. And you have the foundation on that offensive line for years to come, to be an amazing, you can protect quarterbacks and you're going to win. This team isn't, the Colts of, the years after Peyton Manning where they were horrible and then they finally got luck, but they couldn't keep them healthy. And no, they have a plan and they have a good coach. There's a lot to be excited about. So again, I know I kind of switched the question here, but Steve, how do you feel about that? As a Bills fan now, because I gave the perspective as a Colts fan. As a Bills fan, looking at the Colts,
Yeah.
I mean, they have nothing to hang their head at. You know, like they have nothing to be sad about here.
Well, the Colts are going to make you win one way, and it's through the air. We knew that was a very big possibility. Now, what I am hoping for is we get this young bull involved. I like Williams. I want to throw him in the football game. I want to see what this kid can do. I saw what he did at the end of the season there, and I think that's what the running position needs right now, a spark. Because what happens once the running game gets going is the young guys start to really emerge. Look, we know we can feed Stephon Diggs. We know we can feed Cole Beasley. But this was a game where we had to rely on Gabriel Davis. He's Mr. Toe Tap now, and he basically won us the game. And I'm going to tell you right now, if he's running and going and the running game is running and going, everyone else is going to have a field day. But again,
get shirts.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm looking at right now is a Buffalo Bills team that needs to keep building their confidence, establish the running game in this next division round. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if we go up against Kansas City without a running game, we're going to get stomped. It's going to look really bad. And I'm telling you, we can't rely on the weather to be perfect. That's my
thing. I disagree.
Well, I'm just saying, I think when you look at the game when we face Kansas City, right, it looks like a real one-dimensional game. We weren't really playing that bad. Well, we were trying to figure out what we were really trying to do on offense. And then, the air raid started to really establish itself as a thing that's going to stay. Now, what I am saying is I don't want to be one-dimensional against Kansas City. I don't want to be one-dimensional against any team in the divisional round. So that's just what I see, because the Buffalo Bills can be unstoppable if they can figure that out before we face the divisional matchup.
True. I mean, I hear you on that. The reason why I disagree when you talk about the running game going against the Chiefs. So the first thing, and I know a lot of people will do this, especially the national media is going to do this a ton. And I'm sure that the teams will look at this. When we played against the Chiefs earlier in the season, actually, I was in Buffalo for that too. When we were supposed to, we did the Hump Day Live, and, I was supposed to be at that game. Long story short, when you look at the Chiefs, man, that game when we played against the Chiefs, this is not the same Buffalo Bills team. And we don't play the same way. The offense is completely different. So looking at that game, yeah, I would agree with you. We should have had a running game to kind of try to control the clock, keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. He destroyed us. He didn't even have to throw a lot. They run game destroyed us, and they didn't have to run a lot because he could have threw it because it was lanes. This time, it's not the same team, man. So when I say I disagree, it's not that your point isn't right. You're right. It's more so about me saying we're not the same team, and we're beasts now. So Mookie, as a response
what's
to
funny is the team the team that we saw yesterday was kind of akin to that team that we saw against the Titans and the Chiefs. Like they were doing a lot of RPO stuff. They were forcing the ground game. It was very similar. It was a look back to hurt Josh Allen. It's like Josh Allen's not hurt. Why are we doing this? But go ahead.
Right.
Sorry,
but no, you're right, because they figured out and I can't even say they figured out. I feel like their team was built to try and put Josh in the situation that he was in against the Titans and the Chiefs. Not that he was injured, but they figured out how to kind of at least, I don't want to say stifle the defense, but at least or the offense, but at least slow down the receivers to the point where, they weren't going, but they still ate. Steph Diggs still did everything that he had to do. So Mook, what do you feel and how do you feel about that? Especially, you get to talk to the players and the coaches. So from that perspective and getting that insight, how do you feel about it?
Well, I have breaking news to display. The Bills will play Saturday night.
Yeah, actually, I broke that before you, just so you know. My man Trey Hardy broke that before you 2 minutes ago. You wasn't even looking at the screen, man. You wasn't looking.
It's breaking news to me.
Radio, and I'm looking at my joint, so that's good. I kind of figured that was going to happen, thinking that they didn't give us one this week. So I'm really ecstatic about that. You know what I mean? Saturday Night Lights, whomever is going to go down. But to answer Joe's question on you was in the stands and you was pissed off because you thought they would play better. It's hard to call your plays the way you have them scripted when you're starting on your own 2-yard line.
Oh, for sure.
You know Absolutely.
So we said that during the game, Move.
Yeah.
When I took from that, okay, that's how I asked Joshua, like he's very composed. He wasn't frantic or anything. You know what I mean? They didn't turn the ball over right there. So you're going to get some most conservative play calling just to get your back, just to get out of that hole. When they were able to, get, some room to breathe, you started seeing the offense, move the ball and get going. long story short, Bills took a 14-point lead. They doubled it. They took a 14-point lead. Then you seen the defense just have some lapses. You know what I mean? Just not getting back to the fundamentals of tackling. And you got Nyheim Hines breaking a chuck run for 40 yards. And then Taylor racks off a big run. And then, boom, they score a touchdown. And they're right back in the game. Certain instances, you know, I didn't understand, like, y'all run the same damn play on 2nd and 1 and 3rd and 1 and get the same result, like it was beating a dead horse. Like, you got to do something else. And I don't want to see Josh Allen running 17 keepers like his little league no more. Now, right. when teams play cover 2 shell, what do defenses give you when they play that? All right, they give you the delay draw, something you've seen Josh doing a lot, which I don't mind him doing it that way. Josh Allen needs to go north and south, not east and west. He's not going to beat you getting around the corner. That's why I say scrap that damn 17.
Quarterback sweep.
Right? Y'all don't even give Devin Singletary a sweep to the outside. So I don't want to see Josh Allen doing no damn sweeps first and foremost. Stay with the draws. Another thing that beats cover 2 shell, screens. I have not seen a screen yet. You know, do delay draws with your quarterback, running back. Do some screens. If team's going to play off, it's in 4. Let that 4 come, dump it off in the screen, and get up the field. To say that, Josh is still as efficient as all hell. You know what I mean? He was over 70%. He still threw for
74, I think, 74.3.
2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? He did turn the ball over, even though there was 2 instances where they was reviewed skeptical, whatever. But he didn't. Yeah. You know, but the play calling in reference to that RPO too, I don't want to see, you know, right here, 6-minute mark to go in the game, Devin Singletary get you a first down, and y'all pass the ball. Like, why is y'all passing the ball the next play? The next play, 1st and 10, Josh Allen gets sacked all the way back to midfield. Then the very next play.
Well, wait, I don't want to cut you off. I really don't want to cut you off. You know, but the thing is, I kind of disagree there, because there was a sequence in like the first quarter, or second quarter maybe, and Joe and I were there, and we both were like, why did we just run the ball 3 times in a row?
Did it twice.
Now,
twice in the game. They ran the ball.
So I understand.
The 2nd and 1 and the 3rd and 1.
And went 3 and out.
At the same time to the left side and didn't do nothing.
Moss got 8 on the first run, and then they stone cold him on the next 2, and they punted 3 and out. They did it twice.
So what I'm saying is, when I say I disagree about, like, you know, why are you passing the ball? I feel like our passing game needs to, at some point, become our running game in the way New England, back when, you know, Brady had Wes Welker, or Brady had whoever in that slot role, or whoever as his number 1, when they used to throw those short slants, and that was the running game.
Right there, you should throw the ball to Beasley, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. So, but you said, like, you know, why are you passing it? I feel like it should be that, as opposed to giving it to Moss or.
This is the playoffs. I don't have time to experiment on my 3rd and 1s. The Bills is the number 1 team when it comes down to 3rd down conversion. They have not run that damn ball with Zach Moss on 3rd down. You know,
you see what he's saying? Mookie preaching.
Been working. If we throw the damn football to Cole Beasley on 3rd down, 70% of the damn time, I'm looking for Cole Beasley on 3rd down. I'm not looking to give it to Zach Moss off the guy on 2nd and 1.
So literally, you just
now there was some overcoaching going on at times. That's what you call that. Overcoaching. You know what I mean?
Talk that talk.
Been working. When you got your play scripted, you should have your play scripted about what's work. What's my bread and butter on every situation in the course of a game at this point. So to run something that the team is unfamiliar with at that point in that situation was a head scratcher to you and everybody else. You know what I mean, out there. I mean, now is not the time to be trying to be tough guy. You know what I mean? Let's do what everybody's comfortable with. Let's dink and dunk for the damn first down, keep the sticks moving, control the game that way, and eventually score.
Yeah, it was asked why I was upset. I wasn't necessarily upset, and everybody keep in mind what I do. I'm the overreaction guy. So there's an aspect to, my reactions, and I'm going to bring them for real. I'm not as upset today as I was yesterday or as I was during the game. The reality is, the Bills were pinned deep a lot, and the Colts had the perfect game plan to beat us. But the Bills beat them. They actually came out with the win, whether defensively or offensively or whatever you want to say. For me, it was literally what we were just talking about. There was a great, I don't want to say dereliction, but there was just they were not we have seen the Bills in the last 5-6 weeks impose their will on defenses. And when they couldn't, the Steelers game, they made adjustments and then imposed their will on the Steelers. And it just looked like they were like, well, we're not sure if we can do this against this defense. So we're just going to kind of like maybe run the ball and see what happens. And it's the playoffs. I don't want to tuck and run. Like for me, no, let's just, and if we die trying to be who we are, then you beat us, right? Versus die trying to do something, to Mookie's point, we're unfamiliar with. Like I haven't seen a Josh Allen quarterback sweep maybe since the Texans game. Was that the last time we saw?
Why are we doing it?
He ran it twice. He ran it twice the first time, like he got a ton of yards. He ran it again, and that was when Dawson Knox and Morse missed the block, and he got buried into the turf. And if Knox makes that block, the Bills win that football game, and Josh is still running. That's the last time we saw that sweep.
Like, but Mookie, let me ask you something. How do you defeat a team that is so stout with a cover 2 scheme, though? Because you got to understand, when you got a guy in the center like Darius Leonard, and he's just managing the entire defense, you gotta figure out a way to not only throw over him but fool him. It goes back to that 49ers game with Fred Warner. It was a heavyweight fight right when the game started off, right? So I'm looking at what are teams now going to do to the Buffalo Bills? Are they going to keep running a cover 2 scheme against us? Because what I saw was a coordinator, not players. I think our players are more than capable of being able to exploit a cover 2 defense. But my thing is, what is Coach Daboll looking at that he can't exploit? It's cover 2. You're either throwing it between the soft spot on the right or left side of the field, or you're throwing it down the middle. The one time it went down the middle, Stephon Diggs took a shot, but you drove the ball down the field. So my thing is, what do you do then? Because if Coach Daboll's seeing something, but we're seeing something else, why are we pounding the rock? Like, that's where the confusion of the fans are coming from. Because, like, man, this hasn't been an issue all year. Like, what's going on now? Why are statistics coming up about Josh Allen struggling against cover 2? You know, the Bills not being able to move the football down the field. You know, I want to ask you, what would you do against another strong cover 2 scheme? Let's say, Kansas City tries to run that, or let's say Pittsburgh tries to run
it. When everybody was talking about, oh yeah, Josh is going back to the same old Josh, that's because the first 4 weeks of the season, teams were playing their regular style of defenses. Everybody was playing man. They didn't believe Josh Allen was out here doing this. But guess what? Tennessee comes and they have, they play off coverage for the first time. Josh Allen haven't seen that. They got something to play for because they haven't practiced and all of that. That game was a little bit more emotion over consistency, and we know what won that game. The Bills wasn't able to be consistent, and Tennessee had a lot of emotion going on, so that outweighed that game. But they did play off coverage, something that Josh Allen wasn't familiar with. Ever since then, teams have been playing cover 2 shell. The coast is a little bit more exotic because it's a more Tampa 2 style of cover 2, if you will. So, that poses some problems in the reference to how Josh was able to read certain things. But how you prepare, this is what I'm having an issue dealing with too. Isaiah McKenzie had 3 touchdowns last week. So thinking the Indianapolis coach is looking at Isaiah McKenzie do all this miraculous whatever. So I'm quite sure they're trying to game plan for McKenzie. Me being the OC, I'm going to see how much they've been watching tape, check their temperature. Okay, McKenzie, let's try a jet sweep or just run you in motion just to see what are we getting when we do run this. Isaiah McKenzie barely played yesterday. We have problems running the ball. Now, we have found success in our jet sweep game using that. Why is that not implemented? We got to come with our best stuff in the playoffs. You can't be playing around, experimenting, doing things teams are unfamiliar with. Players want to know play calls that's work. If we trying to get outside, why are we not using McKenzie to get outside? We're not throwing no sweep. How the hell you do a 17, a sweep with your quarterback, and Devin Singletary has not got a sweep all season? You know what I'm saying? To beat cover 2, you got to take what they give you, which is those delayed draws, which is the screens.
Okay.
They got to get back to running screens. Anything short, if they want to run cover 2, hey, manipulate the edge, put 2 tight ends out there, stretch the edge, and then run that way. Put Isaiah McKenzie in motion, fake a jet sweep to him, run zone to the right, give it to your running back then. With those 2 tight ends on that same side, you want to manipulate the edge as much as possible. Simple stuff, if you ask me. But
yeah, for sure.
Okay, I just want to Steve. Steve. Hold on, real quick, because we're kind of running out of time too. We got the third game getting ready to come up, so I wanted to ask you and Mookie one more question apiece, and then, like I said, Joe and I are going to end the show out. Well, Joe, probably Mookie will stick around too, because there's a couple things as far as the interviews that I actually got a chance to listen to now that I do want to ask really quickly. But Steve, before I let you go, I do want to ask you one more question and then give you the opportunity to kind of plug, your show and everything else. But the first thing, or the thing I want to ask you, so yesterday was the first time I feel like in a long time this season where I wasn't able to do my normal weekly tweet. Every Sunday or whenever the Bills play, I always tweet, extend Andre Roberts. I wasn't able to do that yesterday. How do you feel about the performance of the special teams, more so Andre Roberts yesterday?
Well, I feel like Bills have been spoiled by him. And, I appreciate what he was able to do. And I think that, a game where there is so much emotion on both sides, it just felt, I knew it felt like a stalemate as far as special teams go. I'll just be completely honest with you. I don't think it was a very explosive thing to watch, but I think at the end of the day, he didn't turn the ball over. Yeah. He did what he could to try to give us the best field position possible. That's all I care about, because in a game where you face a really tough defense and, they're flying all over the field on special teams, I just want to make sure we have a shot to establish ourselves. And I appreciate what he did. Yes, extend Andre Roberts. And I want to say one player we should definitely extend. That's the Italian stallion, Matt Milano. Make no mistake, that is the man who runs the Buffalo Bills defense. Make no mistake about that.
We're gonna start we're gonna push that. That's really gonna be what he's gonna be known by.
If you listen to Buff Hub, every single episode, he is the man I mentioned.
Well, no, I know. What I'm saying is I'm gonna get on that with you. We're gonna start pushing that. Like that's gonna be it's gonna have to be his new nickname. I also coined my man Trey White. I call him Mr. Cleo because I feel like he just can tell the future whenever somebody's throwing in his direction. So we got Mr. Cleo, we got the Italian stallion. What you got, Joe?
So the game, it's 14 seconds into the game, and on the very first snap, they snapped it over Roethlisberger's head into the end zone, and the Browns recovered it for a touchdown. So.
Yeah, I wondered because I saw this. Oh my God, Browns!
Man, this is rigged. Rigged is in.
So what I do is this.
To that point, to Mookie's point about it being rigged, can we just talk about certain things even from our game?
No. We don't have the time. We don't have the time. We don't have the time. No.
The refs did everything they could to cut the flow of the offense yesterday.
Joe. What I want to talk about real quick, I want to give my man Steve a quick chance to plug his show, and I want him to talk about rumblings and then hop off so he can watch the game. I want my man Mookie real quick to talk about his quick interview that he had with Stefon Diggs, and I want him to talk about the couple questions that he answered regarding playing with the fans or being out there with the fans and what he had expectations of. And then Joe, me and you are going to wrap this up by talking about how amazing yesterday was in person as fans and not content creators, as fans. I want to talk about that. So Steve, because we ain't got time. I'm sorry, y'all. I hate to cut you off. We got to do this again when we just got time, but I want to watch the game.
Absolutely. So you can listen to my weekly rant on Buff Hub, on Buffalo Rumblings, and I have different guests. Joe Biscaglia, I want to get Mookie on. That'd be really awesome. Joe, Jay Spence, the whole nine. Now that the schedule's finally cleared up, I'd love to get everyone on as much as possible and just talk about Bills. So yeah, you can find me every Saturday morning. You can listen to me next time you watch a Bills game. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Great stuff, Steve. Good job. Great stuff.
I appreciate you, man. I can't wait to get with you this week. Just so y'all know, this weekend, I'm actually going to be a guest on Buff Hub. So please check that out if you don't already. Actually, go ahead and subscribe to that thing. Just subscribe to Buffalo Rumblings, period, because we do the damn thing. My man Mookie, do me a favor, man. Talk to us a little bit about how Stefon Diggs he talked about the connection to the fans in Buffalo and how, first he does the thing where he goes catch. He plays catch with the fans anyway. But he talked a little bit about just the energy that the Buffalo Bills fans brought to him. Just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a time where you was there, y'all two guys were there, where, man, they needed y'all to be loud and as much as possible. And, they fed off that energy. You always saw Micah Hyde, just egging the fans on, like, give us more. So, during the course of that game, man, something that they, was it something that they've been longing for, it came through for them on yesterday. So it really helped them, give them that juice, that energy that they've been looking for in a pivotal situation during the course of the games, from the fans. They haven't had that, something they've been looking for. If they want to say, hey, let it be the excuse on why they did it. Just like the same way that the coach is trying to nickname why they should be mad because the Bills is dancing to "You Can't Touch This" before practice. Same type of deal. If that's what they want to, proclaim it, nickname it, or whatever, if that's what motivates them to get them to go and do their job, then hey,
no problem.
Pat yourself on the back for that one. Good job. All
right, well,
Saturday night.
I don't think the dancing. Sorry, Spence. I don't think the dancing. I don't think the dancing made them more mad than every single national media person except for Teddy Bruschi picked the Bills not only to beat the Colts but destroy them. All the talk all week was like the Colts don't even belong in this football game. The only talking head that picked them was Teddy Bruschi, and it's because he hates the Bills and always has, like everybody else.
And then to Joe's point too. To Joe's point too, and because I said we didn't have time, but it does actually stand to be spoken about. The referees absolutely, and I know we're not the coach, so we won't get fined for saying this.
Sure.
The referees absolutely tried their hardest to make this thing Indianapolis's game.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't see it that way, maybe I am a Bills homer if that's what I see. But the thing is, first of all, that fumble was a fumble. The game was over.
But that was at the end of the game. That doesn't even talk.
Right. I'm not even talking about the multiple the delay of games that should have been called. I'm not talking about. There's so many different calls that Joe and I saw.
The flow stops, like where they were just arbitrarily stopping the flow of the offense of the Bills. Like, oh, we got to review this one. And then they make it play. Oh, got to review this one too. Like they just.
So from your perspective,
reviewing everything, but you can't review they play under 2 minutes. Yeah. The same rules should apply. If whatever's under 2 minutes is under skeptical should be reviewed. McDermott didn't have to run all the way down the field to call a timeout to get y'all the second guess on reviewing it. What I mean? But I'm glad he did. So, in years past, who knows?
And then they still got it wrong.
2017.
They still got it wrong though. Like, how do you review that? Like, first of all, you're in a tent. Like, you got this little thing built over you. You're like this, and all you see is the screen.
We watched what he saw. We could see what he saw.
Right. It's like so how can you be in this space and you see it way more clearly than we looking at the big screen?
Right.
And we can see it clear as day. Every other announcer that I've seen afterwards and everything I saw on Twitter, every person the guy who used to be the head of officiating said that is a fumble and it should be Buffalo ball.
Yeah.
And the NFL gave out this corny response.
Let him talk. Go, Mook.
What happened?
No,
I'm talking. This is the coach. This is my show. Listen, it was like the way they did that. The officiating account tweeted out, "Yo, it was insufficient evidence or whatever," and this is that. That was a horrible explanation.
Damage
so
control.
Before I let you go, now I'm letting you go, man. But before I let you go, just speak to that real quick, like the responsibility of the NFL officiating crew to actually take responsibility. Like what do you feel about that?
The referees in the NFL is kind of like the union of General Motors. You know what I mean? They don't stick together regardless of whatever the situation is. That's just like the three of us, right? And then you said that you made that call that, hey, he was down by contact. We congregating. I got to go in there and look at the monitor and see that. But I'm not going to big time you because that was your call. Even though I am the head ref and I go underneath that, you my guy. This is my crew. And if this is what you said, okay, I'm still going to back my guy. I'm going to give it due process. I'm going to thoroughly investigate the situation. And guess what I'm going to say?
Lie.
Not enough conclusive evidence to overturn the call.
They
already have their mind made up before they even go underneath there 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean? Based upon what us three just talked about before I took my butt over to the monitor.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, he's like this. Hey, Spence, you made that call. You sure on that call? And you say, hell yeah, I'm sure on that call. Okay. Say nuts. They're going to go underneath there. They're going to look in there. He gonna play the waiting game. You know what I mean? If that's the case, statutory could have called him, say, hey man, reverse that call. He's you know what I mean, the head officiator from New York. You know what I mean? But only penalty they get is not to officiate Super Bowls and playoff games where, it's extra cash. But
I think they really need to be fined the way players are fined. So like, and coaches, when coaches speak out against officiating and players, they normally get fined $10,000-$15,000 for saying something inappropriate. I think refs, when they make those type of calls, they need to be held accountable somehow. And I'm not saying fine them $15,000, but fine them. Do something that's going to make them say, okay, this, I have to actually pay attention. And the thing is, if you make a wrong call, that's okay. But we have the system in place to correct when the call is wrong. That, I guess that's the whole beef that Joe and I both were trying to make. So now the show is over. We're about to get ready to go to joint. Before we go, I know Mookie was there, so we'll end up with him. But Joe, just for a few minutes, man, let's talk about it, man. Like, first of all, I thoroughly enjoyed kicking it with you this trip, man, and spending time. And first of all, your wife, let me just tell everybody how Joe's wife just throws down. Like, she made this steak that I didn't even want the sides, to be honest, because the steaks were so doggone good. I just wanted to eat steak all night. That's all I wanted. I think I had like 4 steaks. I think I did. I ate too much.
They're medallions, but yeah.
but in all seriousness, man, I thoroughly enjoyed myself with you this weekend, man. We had a great time at the game and just kicking it and doing the shows and pods. Why don't you just let everybody know what your experience was like and and what to look forward to coming up?
No, it was surreal. I mean, the tickets have been in my family forever, and by forever I mean literally forever. By the proof of that is the fact that I was able to get tickets to the first game. 77 is actually what our seniority goes back to. My grandpa actually got them, I believe, in 66, let them lapse for 2 years, and then missed going because they sucked. Missed going, and then bought in 77 and never bridged his time. So I've been buying in since 97. If you listen to my pod, I not you guys particularly, but the people that are watching, I did a pretty creative breakdown of the whole entire day and kind of like how I was feeling all the way up until like when I saw the lights of the stadium. Like, and the lights of the stadium are always on Sundays when the Bills are there, and I'm 15 minutes away. I'm just not allowed to be there. And just how that felt and just kind of what emotionally I went through and stuff like that. And just like taking away just some of the stuff from the season and then walking in the stadium and blah, blah, blah. And it being emotional. I mean, I didn't weep or anything like that, but I got a little misty. Like I was standing someplace where I didn't expect to be this year. Whether you agree with why we're not there or not, there's just an aspect of like, it's normal for Bills Mafia to go to football games and tailgate. That's what we have the Bills. Since the Bagulas bought the Bills and secured it, there's no doubt the Bills are going to be here. And when it's taken away from you, and not just you, but everybody, when it's completely taken away, all of a sudden it changes the dynamic of being in the stadium. So just being back in the stadium and seeing the team and stuff like that, it was a cool experience. It was emotional. It was great. Like I'm glad we went. So
how do you, because I know for me, it's normally like I always complain to some degree about, like if the Bills don't score a touchdown, I'm one of the fans that's like, man, we shouldn't play the shout song for a field goal. But yesterday, every single time that thing played, man, I was acting like it was the first time I ever heard. I was a virgin to it. Last question to you, Joe. How did just in general, like the normal things that we're used to experiencing that I guess we took for granted for so many years.
For sure.
Those experiences, how did they, like, aside from everything you just said, because you spoke so well about it.
The Browns just scored again.
Are you kidding me?
All
right, we got to go, y'all.
Anyway, ask me this last question.
Well, no, so, I mean, but just the things that we took for granted. And like you mentioned, like, we haven't been able to be there all year. Now we got this experience and we were able to go. And it's like, just the little things. How much more special did it feel for you to, the simple things, like literally the simple things?
Yeah, no, there aren't words to put to it. I mean, it's just not. And I'd imagine you feel the same way. And the 6,700 other people that were there, there just aren't really words to put to just the experience of being there and just taking it in. I think the weirdest thing for me, and I think I said it to you yesterday, and Mookie will get this too, and everybody that's been to a Bills game, there's always opposing team fans in our stadium, always, and it's like that at every stadium. And every time the Colts did something, score or whatever, there was silence. The only people that were in the stadium were Bills fans. That was a little weird. The fact that there was no like even a little one when they did something. But no, I mean, just to take in all of it, the sights, the sounds, like I said, it was neat to be on the opposite side of the field because my seats are in the first row of the upper deck on the visitor side. We were right behind the Bills bench. Jim Kelly was 10 rows behind us. I'm pissed off about that I didn't know that until today. So just to see the interaction, to see Feliciano when he was pissed off, to see Deion Dawkins when he was pissed off, to see Steph noodling around and talking to the players, and like just to see because I almost paid more attention, not more attention. I paid more attention to the sideline in this game than I ever have any game, really, because it was right there in front of me. No, dude, all of it. There aren't words to put to even the small little things, and just making sure I remembered every detail. Like I didn't take notes because I couldn't. My phone was dead, so I did that whole pod based off of memory because it was seared. It's seared in my brain. Like I could recall almost the whole game at this point.
Joe had me text him a note. He was like, "Hey, text me. My phone's dead. Text me this." So he was taking notes throughout the game. But so Joe, why don't you first? I love you. I really appreciate the fact that you probably could have had everybody from John Fina to whoever go to this game with you, and for you to include me in your season ticket package and bring me. I just want to thank you and say I appreciate you so much. Why don't you plug your show? Let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter or find your content. Yeah. And then we'll end off a Mook.
So for those of you that don't know, I am the host of the Overreaction Sports Podcast, which is a Buffalo Bills podcast on the Buffalo Fanatics Podcast Network, brought to you by the Market Dominator. And it's out now. So my post-game show from last night, I think it posted at 11 p.m. last night. It's ready for you for the drive to work tomorrow morning. So if you've consumed all the pods, the post-game pods, and haven't consumed mine yet, when you get in the car tomorrow, just search Overreaction Bills. It'll come up, or Overreaction Sports or Overreaction Buffalo. It'll come up. Humpty Hotline, which you used to be my co-host on, is on Wednesday nights at 9:00. And there's just a lot going on, dude. I'm ready for. It's funny because I know you feel it, Mookie. You feel it too. Like I'm ready for the season to end, but I'm not ready for the season to end. Like I'm wiped. Like I'm.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
It never ends.
Well, for podcast,
it ends in a second. Yeah.
There's no paycheck for us. But it's like this year's been.
I'm draft guy, so I'll carry this thing all the way over the draft and everything. It never ends.
It's been an awesome grind, and it's been an amazing season, and it's exactly what I needed to get me through 2020 COVID stuff. So yeah, but there's more to come. So one not done. Excited, right?
Right.
That's a fact. So Mookie, why don't we end it off real quick with your final thoughts about whatever you want to, you have final thoughts in, and then, like I said, let everybody know where they can find you, your content, and let's get out of here and watch these Browns cheat their way to beating the Steelers.
Well, the thing about fans coming into the stands and everybody just being emotional and, like you said, just taking things for granted, like. No matter what goes on in everybody's lives is different. You know what I mean? But one thing we do have in common is Bills Mafia. And being in that stadium is like your sanctuary. It takes away everything that you've gone through during the week. It takes away all your headaches. It takes away all your pain. Where you can just have so much joy when an absolute stranger and had the time of your life is at that stadium. You know what I mean? So not to have that and to finally, have the opportunity to do it again, it draws that emotion because, you never know how much you miss that feeling until you actually get the opportunity to revisit it again. You know what I mean? So that's how everybody approached now. And, they really was taken in by like, damn, you know what I mean? This is like better than, my new girlfriend. You know what I mean? Where have this been? I've been like longing for this for so long. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's just a feeling that you've been waiting to have for so long to finally happen. You just want more. So hopefully Saturday night they could, instead of 6,700, they can make it 10,000 or something.
They should. Upper decks need to be full. Upper decks need to be full.
Yeah, they do. And I actually said that to Joe. So I guess for me to end up, well, first, Mookie, let everybody know where they can find you and where your content is.
Yeah, y'all know y'all can hit me, man. I'm all over like dog shit if I can cuss, by the way. That's just how it is right now. You know what I mean? You can always check me on the Chop Up every Sunday after I do my Waffle Sports Report on Power 96.5 every Sunday from 6 to 7. And then, that is followed up with the Chop Up with my man Jay Spence. I also do some work with the fan base. Shout out to my girl Robin. And I do Saturday night tailgate with CFR. You know what I mean? I have some more projects, but that might take another half hour. You know what I mean? But you can always check me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Waffle Sports, Mookie Hawkins. You know what I mean? Hey,
love it.
See you next week.
We'll see you next week.
I need to be on Overreaction. How are you gonna let the season go by, Joe? And I ain't been on your show. You know what I mean? I've been on all the shows.
You talking to me?
Been on
overreacted. Talking to Joe.
So I
haven't overreacted now. Once.
You will be first. Second of all, Friday night. My days are messed up because the game was on Saturday. Friday night in 2 years, or over the 2 years of my show, I had the very first in-season guest, and it was Spence. So I don't do guests in season just because I have kind of a concept and a list that I go through, and they're already freaking 55 minutes long, and to have a guest on, they'd be an hour and 15. No, Mookie, it's gonna happen. So don't you worry. You know, I got mad love. That was
an overreaction right there. That was an
it was. He was practicing for the show.
It's good, bro. I mean, come on, bro. Who sent you Happy Thanksgiving? Who texted you Happy Thanksgiving? How many content creators texted Mookie and said Happy Thanksgiving, bro?
Not that many, man. It was too busy stuffing turkey down their throat. You know what I mean?
Merry Christmas. I
appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. No, we'll
That's
get it done.
That's because we fam, man. That's because we fam, and it's real with us. So everybody, enjoy the rest of your night. My name is Jay Spence the King. You can find me on Twitter at Jay Spence the King. I am the host of the Code of Conduct and co-host of the Chop Up with my man Mookie Hawkins, and I got a feeling that I'm gonna have some other things coming up soon. So we got big announcements coming. We got big things in the works. I love y'all. Go Bills. Stay positive and test negative. Let's get it.
Go Bills.
Make sure y'all subscribe. Buffalo Rumblings. Y'all
subscribe. Let's get it.
That button.